Am I the a-hole here for not believing my neighbor's ex and kicking out my pregnant wife? I'm sharing my story because I feel like my world has been turned upside down lately, and I just want to vent it out. And maybe, just maybe, someone finds this story helpful because it will open people's eyes to notice the signs of cheating earlier than I did. So here's my story. My name is Matt. My wife Amy and I have been together for 20 years. We were high school sweethearts. It didn't take me long to know she was the woman I wanted to marry. We had a lot in common back in those days, like hobbies, values, and political views. Also, there wasn't a topic that we couldn't share or discuss with each other. I really believed that we were meant to be, and there were never any secrets between us. So, before we went to university, I proposed to her, and we married the same year. It was wonderful. I have never been happier. 10 years ago, we had our first child. At that time, we realized that we needed to move to a house if we wanted another kid. However, we still waited for 3 years before we decided that we were ready to leave our apartment. We searched for a house for almost a year before we found our cozy home. So 6 years ago, we moved to this child-friendly neighborhood. Honestly, today, I wish we hadn't chosen this house because this was the starting point where our relationship and my dreams of happily ever after were broken into pieces. But back to the story, our youngest kid was born a year after moving here. At this time, Amy was already best friends with our next-door neighbor, Melinda. Our oldest daughter played with Melinda's kids all the time, and Amy and Melinda were inseparable. They were together every day, sharing everything. However, things changed dramatically about 7 months ago, when out of the blue, my neighbor Josh kicked Melinda and their kids out. He claimed it was temporary until Melinda sought help for her mental health issues. Josh told me that Melinda was paranoid, and he couldn't handle it anymore. Naive or not, I believed it. Even though it was kind of odd to me that he kicked out his children as well with a mother whose mental health wasn't good, then again, who was I to judge? It was not my business. However, Melinda had a different story. She started accusing my wife of being the reason Josh left her. To be honest, it seemed pretty paranoid to me as well. I know my wife, for God's sake, and these accusations were absurd. We talked to each other about everything, and there are no secrets between us. At least that's what I thought then. But man, how wrong I was. Once our neighbors broke up, the real drama began. Amy told me immediately that Melinda wasn't herself and they weren't friends anymore. I didn't blame her. Who wants to be friends with someone who just makes up stories and can't handle their own issues? Anyway, Amy had a really tough month. If Melinda's accusations weren't enough, she also lost her job. So it really messed up her mental health too, and she'd been on antidepressants since then. After our neighbors had been separated for 4 months, Amy surprised me with fantastic news. She was pregnant again. I was overjoyed because I love being a dad. There's nothing quite like spending time with my kids, teaching them new things, and watching them grow. It's truly amazing. But from the moment we found out about the pregnancy, Amy seemed different. She was worried and anxious, unlike her usual self. I chalked it up to stress from our last baby delivery, which was really tough on her. One evening, I couldn't ignore Amy's distress any longer and asked her what was happening. She confirmed my suspicions and added that her ex-best friend, Melinda, had been writing to her again, still accusing her of being the reason why Melinda's husband, Josh, left her. Melinda claimed that now her kids had to grow up dealing with the trauma of a broken home because of Amy. I was enraged, especially considering Amy's delicate condition. But Melinda's accusations seemed to keep coming, and I became increasingly terrified of the potential harm to our baby. So I decided to confront Melinda myself. I messaged her, telling her to back off and stop harassing Amy. I reminded her that Amy's depression was partly because of her, and she needed to stop blaming others for her problems and seek help for her mental health issues. Melinda's response blew my mind. "Man, what are you talking about? I haven't spoken to Amy since Josh and I broke up. What mental health problems do I have? That is very interesting to hear. You're brainwashed by Amy and Josh. We broke up because Josh didn't love me anymore. Can you guess who his new lover is? It's your Amy. I am not making it up." I saw their messages while Josh and I were still together because he forgot to close his computer when he went to work. These were love messages, talking about how they missed each other and counting the hours until they could see each other again. Our daughter even caught them kissing when I was asleep, and not just once. Also, Isn't it weird that your wife brings food to Josh after our breakup when you're at work? I bet you didn't know that. I was shocked at her level of lying. And believe it or not, I never doubted my wife. What is a relationship without trust, right? Still, I asked Melinda to send me proof of Amy and Josh's messages if she had any. Melinda claimed she'd deleted the messages because she was naive and let Josh's lies fool her. How convenient, right? I told her to stop lying and not to contact us again, or we'd get a restraining order. After this, Melinda blocked us on Facebook, and I thought that was the end of it. I told Amy not to worry, that Melinda wouldn't bother us again. At that point, I understood why some neighbors whispered when they saw my wife and me walking past their fences. They were just buying into Melinda's lies, which is really disgusting. I already regretted moving into this neighborhood and buying this house. After this drama with Melinda, everything seemed to go uphill. We enjoyed our third baby's expectation time and spending time together as a family. After Amy got pregnant, she finally agreed to become a full-time housewife until our unborn child was at least 1 year old. After that, we agreed if she wanted to find a job, then we'd get a babysitter. I also supported her financially, but she's my wife, so why not if I can do so? Fast forward 3 months, and one night I was up late. Amy was sleeping, and her phone suddenly buzzed around 2 a.m. I was curious and a bit concerned about who was messaging her so late. I walked to the bedside table where Amy's phone was, and what did I see? The messages came from Josh. His last message I will never forget. He wrote, "Amy, darling, I love you and our kid. Don't worry. Melinda and I are not getting back together. By the way, can't wait for our Monday's traditional sex break. You are freaking hot." I was floored. Melinda had been right all along. I felt like the biggest fool in the world. Now I was sure that our whole neighborhood knew it, and probably everyone laughed at me behind my back, thinking how stupid one man could be. And I admit I was really stupid, but I trusted my wife. For God's sake, that's what people do when they think they are in a happy relationship. Am I right? Anyway, I couldn't sleep all night thinking about what to do next. My love for Amy turned into pure rage. Honestly, I didn't see the opportunity to fix this. For F's sake, she wanted me to raise another man's child, and at the same time, she was having sex with him behind my back. This is really disgusting. I was so mad that I preferred to kick her out in the middle of the night, but she was my kid's mom, so I decided to confront her in the morning. The next morning, I asked Amy if she had anything to tell me. She just laughed and said, "Good morning, darling." That made me snap. "For God's sake, Amy, are you hiding any secrets from me?" "No, of course not," she replied. "Did you speak to Melinda again? What lie did she come up with this time?" I lost it. "Why are you still lying? I know everything. I saw the messages between you and Josh. Tell me, how long have you been cheating on me with him?" Amy turned pale and looked like she was about to faint, but I didn't care anymore. "How long, Amy?" I continued. "Almost 2 years," she answered quietly. Now I was really shocked. "Almost 2 years. I thought we were happy. Tell me why." "What was missing, Amy? I supported you emotionally and financially, spent time with our kids, cooked, resolved your problems, and organized dates for us. How could you do this to me and our kids?" Amy tried to apologize, saying it was all a mistake and it just happened. You heard it right. Just happened. She told me that she loved me, not Josh. But I was done. So I answered her, "It just happened that you had traditional sex breaks on Mondays for almost 2 years. It just happened that you're expecting his child. It wasn't a mistake, Amy. You chose to do this to me and our kids. I don't believe a word you say anymore. You are disgusting to me. Pack your things and leave." "Where should I go? Please be reasonable. I am pregnant," she pleaded. "I am reasonable. I can't live with you under the same roof anymore. You should have thought about that before ending up in our neighbor's bed. Honestly, I don't care anymore. Just leave." Amy left that day, but now she messages me daily, accusing me of being egotistical and ruining our 20-year marriage even though she apologized. She says I'm not thinking about our kids, but they live with me, and I won't stop them from seeing and visiting her. She also claims to love me more than anything in the world, but that's another lie because I found out she moved into an apartment with Josh, who recently sold his house. I know why she wants to come back to me, because I have more money than that Josh guy. So, who is the egotistical one here? Like really, am I the a-hole here for not taking her back?